The giant screen on the bridge of Earth's biggest spaceship lit up with strange symbols. Captain Alan Webb's heart beat faster as the alien words became English before his eyes. He gripped the edge of his command chair, his knuckles turning white. "Sir, it's from the Galactic Council," said Lieutenant Betty Ross, her eyes wide. "They want to talk to us." The message wasn't what anyone expected. The aliens weren't offering friendship. They wanted Earth to join them, but on their terms. "They expect us to do what?" Admiral Patricia Morgan stormed onto the bridge, her red hair matching her anger. "Read it again." Webb took a deep breath. "They want us to give up our ships, our weapons, and our freedom. They'll protect us, and maybe in 50 years, we can speak at their meetings, but we won't get to vote. That's not a deal. That's surrender." Patricia slammed her fist on the table. The bridge crew jumped. Outside the viewing window, Earth looked small and blue. Humans had only reached the stars 15 years ago. But in that short time, they had built homes on 7 planets and created ships faster than anyone thought possible. "The aliens are scared of us," Webb said slowly, looking at the last part of the message. "See here. They call us concerning and destabilizing. We're growing too fast for them." Lieutenant Greg Simmons looked up from his station. "But we're just getting started. We've done in 15 years what took them hundreds." "Exactly," Webb nodded. "And that terrifies them." The room fell quiet. These aliens had ruled space for thousands of years. They had never met anyone like humans before, creative, stubborn, and unwilling to bow down. "So what's our answer?" asked Simmons, breaking the silence. Patricia walked to the front of the bridge and looked at the stars. When she turned back, her face was set with determination. "We say no. We tell them humans don't surrender. We don't give up our ships, our guns, or our freedom." Her voice grew stronger. "If they want to be friends, we're ready. If they want servants, they came to the wrong planet." Webb nodded slowly. "Send the message, Lieutenant. Tell the Galactic Council that humanity declines their offer." As Simmons typed the reply, Webb wondered what would happen next. Humans were new to space, but they weren't weak. If these aliens wanted a fight, they would learn that Earth wasn't easy to conquer. "Message sent, sir," Simmons said quietly. "Now," Patricia said with a grim smile, "we prepare for whatever comes next." Far away, in a grand alien hall, 17 different species were about to get the first no they had heard in 12,000 years. Catherine Lee never thought she would talk to aliens. She had spent years helping countries get along on Earth. Now she had to help humans get along with beings from other stars. "The aliens will see you now," said a blue creature with 4 arms and eyes like a fly. Its voice sounded like music played too fast. Catherine nodded and straightened her dark blue suit. Her hands shook a little, but her face stayed calm. The big doors in front of her slid open without a sound. The room she entered was bigger than any she had ever seen. 17 tall platforms stood in a half circle. On each one sat different alien creatures. Some looked almost human. Others looked like nothing Catherine had ever imagined. In the middle, on the highest platform, sat a tall bird-like creature. Its feathers shone like rainbows in sunlight. Its sharp beak looked like it could tear metal. "Human," the bird creature said. Its voice came through a small device in Catherine's ear. "You stand before the Galactic Council. For 12,000 years, we have kept peace among the stars. Your people have done something no one has ever done. You said no to us." Catherine stepped forward. Her shoes made soft sounds on the shiny floor. "We mean no disrespect, but we cannot give up our ships, our weapons, and our freedom. We want to be friends with the Council as equals, not as servants." A sound like laughter, or maybe anger, filled the room. "Equals." The bird creature's feathers stood up. "Your people only just learned to leave your planet. We were traveling between stars when your ancestors were still living in caves. What makes you think you deserve to be our equals?" Catherine smiled. She wasn't scared anymore. Maybe it's because we're new that we can help you. We have fresh ideas, different ways of seeing things. A lizard-like alien hissed from its platform. Your people are dangerous. You learned how to travel faster than light without blowing up your planet. That makes you strange. Is being different really so bad? Catherine asked. Having different kinds of people makes any group stronger. We can help the council, but we won't give up who we are to do it. The bird creature's eyes narrowed to thin lines. Then we have no choice. Humans will be outsiders. You won't be able to trade with council worlds. You won't get our help or protection. Catherine bowed her head slightly. We understand. But I hope someday you'll see that humans can be good friends instead of good servants. As she turned to leave, Catherine heard the aliens start to argue among themselves. For the first time in thousands of years, someone had stood up to them, and they didn't know what to do about it. Outside the council room, Catherine let out a long breath. She knew the hard part was just beginning. Earth was alone in a galaxy full of older, more powerful species, but humans were good at facing impossible odds. How did it go? Asked her assistant through her earpiece. They're scared of us, Catherine said, walking quickly down the long hallway. And that might be the most dangerous thing of all. 6 months after Catherine's visit to the aliens, Earth was having a hard time. The Council wouldn't let human ships buy fuel at their space stations. Human traders couldn't sell goods to Council worlds. But then something surprising happened. Kevin Martinez walked quickly into the big meeting room where Earth's leaders waited. His face showed excitement as he placed a small device on the table. A blue light shot up, showing a map of the galaxy. 5 of the smaller alien groups from the Council have been talking to us in secret, Kevin said, pointing to different colored spots on the map. They call themselves the Coalition of Emerging Species. And what do they want? Asked General Laura Bennett. Her eyes narrowed. She didn't trust any aliens after the Council's demands. Kevin touched the device, and the map zoomed in to show the 5 alien groups' territories. They were small and scattered, mostly far from the center of Council space. They want our engine technology, Kevin explained. Our ships can go faster using less fuel than the Council standard. They also want to train with our space fleet. Not a full team up yet, but learning from each other. They're planning to leave the Council, said Admiral Patricia Morgan, leaning forward. And they want us as friends when they do. President Daniel Foster had been quiet until now. What are the risks if we help them? The big Council aliens might get angry, Kevin admitted. They could see it as us stealing their members. They might decide to attack us sooner. And what do we gain? Materials we need, new tech from 5 different cultures, help if we're attacked, and most importantly, respect, Kevin answered. With 5 Council species as our friends, we can't be treated like children anymore. Daniel nodded slowly. Catherine, what do you think? You've met these aliens. Ambassador Lee took a moment before speaking. The coalition members are honest. They've been pushed aside for too long. They see themselves in us. Another group the powerful ones look down on. She paused. But we should be careful. The 6 oldest Council species have been ruling space for thousands of years. They have weapons and ships we can't even understand. So far, they've mostly ignored us, but this could change that. The president stood up, his mind made up. Start talking with the coalition, but make it clear we don't want to cause trouble across the galaxy. We just want our fair place in it. If the Council truly wants peace, they need to understand that humans and our new friends won't accept being second class forever. As the meeting ended, Kevin stayed behind with Catherine. Do you think it will work? He asked quietly. Catherine looked at the galaxy map, still glowing blue in the darkened room. The Council has never faced a real challenge in 12,000 years. They don't know how to handle someone saying no. And that makes us dangerous, Kevin realized. Yes, Catherine said. But sometimes being dangerous is the only way to bring about change. The Arcturus research station floated in space far from Earth. It was the most advanced human science base, where smart people studied special types of matter that could change how ships travel through space. Dr. Olivia Ward was working in her lab when loud alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed on the walls. "What's happening?" She called to her assistant Sam, who was checking the computer screens. "3 big ships just appeared near us," Sam said, his voice shaking. "They're not answering our calls." Olivia felt cold fear wash over her. The research station had no real weapons, just a small team of guards with light guns. "Send a message to Earth right now," she ordered, "and send all our research data through the special communication link." Before Sam could press the button, the whole station shook violently. Olivia fell to the floor as equipment crashed around her. "They're shooting at us," Sam shouted in disbelief. "Why would they attack scientists?" The next blast threw them both against the wall. Warning messages flashed on all screens. Parts of the station were losing air. "Get everyone to the escape pods," Olivia said, pulling herself up. "I'll make sure our data is safe." As Sam ran to help the other scientists, Olivia quickly sent all their research to Earth. Then she turned on the station's small shields. They wouldn't stop the attackers for long, but might give people enough time to escape. The attack lasted only 20 minutes. When it was over, the beautiful research station was just broken metal floating in space. Only 37 people out of 200 survived, hiding in small escape pods. The attacking ships, which looked like council designs but had no markings, disappeared without saying why they had come. When news of the attack reached Earth, people were angry and scared. The coalition aliens promised to help. Earth's military prepared all its ships for battle, and President Foster spoke to everyone on Earth. "Today, someone attacked our scientists without warning or reason. This was not just an attack on a building, but on human knowledge itself. Whoever did this wanted to stop our progress, to push us back down. They will fail. Humans will not be scared into giving up. From this moment, we end all talks with the Galactic Council, and we officially join together with our new coalition friends for protection." All across human space, factories started making weapons and ships. Soldiers were called to duty, and in hidden places, Earth began building a new type of warship, using technology that even their coalition friends hadn't seen yet. "Will we win if there's a war?" a reporter asked General Bennett at a press meeting. The general looked grim. "The Council has ruled space for 12,000 years. They have more ships, more weapons, more of everything." She paused, then smiled slightly. "But they've never fought humans before. And that's their biggest mistake." The huge alien meeting room was filled with angry voices. The 17 leaders of the council were shouting at each other. Some pounded their tables. Others waved their many arms or tentacles in fury. "The humans were making weapons at that station," yelled Councillor Vrain, the bird-like leader. His colorful feathers stood straight up. "Our spies told us so." "Does that give you the right to kill scientists without warning?" demanded Councillor Telix of the Narvani, one of the smaller alien groups. His skin changed from blue to red as he grew angrier. "You didn't even ask the rest of us." "The 6 oldest species never ask," said another coalition member bitterly. His 4 eyes blinked in different patterns. "They just do what they want, and expect us all to agree." Catherine Lee stood quietly near the entrance. She had been called back to the council after the attack. Her face showed no emotion, but inside she felt both sad and angry about the scientists who had died. When the room grew a little quieter, she stepped forward. The floor lights followed her, making a bright circle around her. "Council members," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Arcturus Station was studying basic science, not building weapons. We invited anyone to come check, but you refused. Instead, someone chose to attack and kill. You speak of peace while making friends with those who want to break the council apart." Vrain shot back, pointing a wing arm at her. "We made friends only after you tried to hurt us with trade blocks and isolation," Catherine said calmly. "And now, after someone killed our people, those friendships have grown stronger. You chose this path, not us. Counselor Telek stood tall, his neck stretching to twice its normal length. The Coalition of Emerging Species officially stands with the humans. We also demand an investigation into who attacked the research station. Such an investigation would need to look at human military bases, Vrain said, his eyes narrowing to slits. We will let neutral parties check our science centers, Catherine offered. Will you let them check the shipyards that build vessels like the ones that attacked us? The room went completely silent. I didn't think so, Catherine said quietly. She looked around the grand chamber where decisions affecting trillions of lives were made. Humanity came to you wanting friendship. You demanded we bow down. When we refused, you tried to hurt us. When that failed, someone used violence. Each time, you have underestimated humans. That is your final warning. Do not make that mistake again. With those words, Catherine turned and walked out. Her footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. Behind her, the council, which had stayed united for 12,000 years, began to break apart. The smaller species were openly questioning the 6 founding members now. Old grudges that had been hidden for centuries came to the surface. Did you mean what you said back there? Asked Catherine's assistant as they walked to their ship. About it being their final warning. Catherine nodded. Humans have always been good at one thing, surviving against impossible odds. If the Council forces us into a war, they'll learn that lesson the hard way. 8 months after the attack on the science station, human space looked very different. Day and night, workers built new ships at the Mars, Europa, and Proxima Centauri shipyards. The sounds of welding and hammering never stopped. Captain Alan Webb walked through his new ship, the EDF Defiance. It was the biggest, fastest, and strongest ship humans had ever built. It combined human ideas with technology shared by their new alien friends. How does she look, Captain? Asked Commander Nicole Harris as she joined him in the hallway. Her uniform was crisp and new, just like the ship. She's beautiful, Webb said, running his hand along the smooth wall. Is everything working right? All systems are perfect, Nicole reported with pride. And the alien officers from the Coalition have fit in well with our crew. Webb nodded, pleased. They stopped at a window and looked at the stars. And the special system, the one we haven't told anyone about. Nicole lowered her voice, even though they were alone. The quantum displacement field is ready. The Council has no idea we've made it work. This was humanity's secret weapon, a shield that could briefly move a ship partly out of normal space, making it impossible to hit with regular weapons. It couldn't last long, and it used huge amounts of power, but it gave human ships a big advantage. Let's hope we don't need to use it, Webb said seriously. The door slid open, and Admiral Patricia Morgan walked in quickly. Her face looked grim. It's starting, she said without greeting them. The Council hardliners have sent their main fleet toward the Procyon system. They say they're just doing exercises, but our spies say they're loading ships with soldiers. Webb's jaw tightened. Procyon was home to one of the biggest human colonies, and now a major coalition base too. So they've picked their target, he said. Are we going to wait for them to attack first? Patricia shook her head. Not this time. President Foster has approved Operation Checkmate. You leave in 6 hours. Operation Checkmate wasn't a plan to attack. It was something much bolder. A plan to show up at every major Council military base at the same time, proving that their defenses could be broken easily. It would show just enough of humanity's power to make the Council think twice, without starting actual fighting. Are our coalition friends ready? Webb asked. Yes, Patricia confirmed. They know it's risky, but they also know that if we don't change the Council's mind now, war will happen anyway. Webb stood straighter and fixed his uniform. Then Defiance will lead the way. If we're lucky, showing our strength will convince them that fighting humans and the coalition isn't worth it. And if we're not lucky? Nicole asked quietly. Webb looked her in the eyes. Then at least we go into the fight knowing what we're facing, and with friends beside us. Later, As the Defiance and 50 other ships prepared to jump to light speed, Webb looked at the Earth one last time. He wondered if he would ever see it again. "Captain," Nichols said from her station, "all ships report ready." Webb took a deep breath. "Then let's show the galaxy who they're dealing with. Jump." The Council emergency meeting had been going for 3 days without stopping. The grand chamber that was usually so orderly now looked like a human argument. Aliens shouted and interrupted each other. Some who had been friends for centuries now sat on opposite sides of the room. The reason for all this chaos played on the big screen in the middle of the room. It showed videos from 27 Council military bases across the galaxy. At each one, human and coalition ships had appeared out of nowhere, getting past all defenses, waiting just long enough to be seen, and then vanishing again. No shots had been fired. No demands had been made. Just a simple message that the human coalition teams could strike anywhere, anytime. "This cannot be allowed," Councillor Vrain shouted, his voice shrill. "We must use all our forces against them." "Against who?" asked Councillor Telex calmly. "They didn't attack anyone. They didn't enter our space without permission. They just showed us that our defenses aren't as good as we thought." "It was a threat. It was a message," said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Catherine Lee walking into the chamber. Behind her were representatives from each coalition species. "Ambassador Lee," the council moderator said stiffly, "we did not call for you." "Yet here I am," Catherine replied, walking to the center platform, a place usually only for the council leader. She touched a button, and the screen changed to show pictures of the destroyed research station and the faces of the scientists who had died there. "Humans could have responded to this attack with immediate war," she said. "We did not. Instead, we made friends. We got ready. And now we have shown you that the old way of doing things, where the 6 oldest species give orders and everyone else obeys, is finished." Whispers spread through the room, but Catherine kept speaking. "We are not here to break apart the council. We want to rebuild it. Equal voices, equal rights, equal duties, a true family of species instead of masters and servants." "You ask too much," Vrain began, but another council member cut him off. "Perhaps we should listen," said Councillor Ishara, one of the oldest species who had stayed neutral during the growing trouble. "The humans and the coalition have shown unusual control, given what happened at Arcturus." "Control. They threatened our bases. They showed what they could do without hurting anyone," Ishara replied. "A warning, yes, but a careful one. If they wanted war, the fighting would have already started." The debate continued for many more hours, but the result was becoming clear. The unity of the 6 founding species was broken. 3 of them, the more reasonable ones, were starting to see that working together was better than fighting. 1 week later, the Galactic Council was rebuilt under a new agreement. The old system where some species had more power than others was replaced with one where all members had equal votes. Special teams were created to solve specific problems, with members chosen for their skills rather than their political power. Humanity and the coalition species took their places as full members, bringing new ideas to a group that had stopped growing in its 12,000 years. After the signing ceremony, Catherine and Captain Webb stood looking out at the stars. "The council said our refusal would cause chaos," Catherine said softly. "They weren't completely wrong." Webb smiled. "Sometimes things need to break before they can be fixed better." "True," Catherine agreed, watching as members of 23 different civilizations talked freely, sharing ideas as equals for the first time. And sometimes saying no to someone else's idea of peace is the first step to finding real peace.